I ran up a check, I might do it again. Enemies close, had me thinking they're friends. 10 toes down, I'll be free until the end. Crib outside the city, I don't feel safe in my hands. Took so many years, I'm just waiting for the wins. I'm in debt to no one but the one who took my sins. I do it for real, there's no reason to pretend. If I do it once, I do it again. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up. I'm just doing me, everything is on me, oh you matter what. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up. I'm just doing me, everything is on me, oh you matter what. Add it up. Told her if it's all me, everything is on me, gon' back it up. Matter what. Told you I'ma do me, why you hating on me? It's not adding up. I do roll like a Mack truck, country heart, I might cop a farm and go act up. Lot of scars, I was cold-hearted, now I'm back up. Keep it real, I do this once a month, I don't rap much. I just take the money and go stack up. Only buying car to get tatted up. All that other bull, it don't matter much. You only climb me, I put the ladders up. No fault, I done doubled up on the workload. I think I fell in love with the bankroll. Pray up, get money, then we lay low. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up. I'm just doing me, everything is on me, oh you matter what. Add it up, bankroll.
Here we go. Team No Sleep. Man,
Yes,
you still got noise in the background. What are the kids doing back there in your neck of the woods?
No, man, ain't no, everything's on mute, brother, man. I don't know what that is.
Now that's probably our distinguished guest behind the scenes, and who knows what's going on. What's up, folks? Welcome, Team No Sleep. Thursday, August the 5th. What is today? 5th? Yeah. We about to do this one more again. You all right, Monte?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh yeah, man. I'm making sure we don't got no background noise on my end. I'm just checking the chords, man, making sure we straight.
Yeah. Look at that. I see Laura is already in the comments. She knows how we get down. Look at this. Been thinking NIL. we got folks talking about it. You know, that's on the agenda for tonight. So we will definitely bring that up. So again, thank you guys for joining us. Montel, I'm gonna let you kick it off because you have again hit it out of the park by bringing on some very special folks that got a little insight, and I'm gonna let you introduce our guest tonight.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna introduce my man Big Ben, from the eSports world. Great gentleman, definitely has been doing some big things. Can really share a lot of insight on the NIL and how it's affecting the gaming industry and how the gaming industry is really gonna be playing a part in sports. Not only now, but also in the future. And I think he can provide a different insight for us. So please bring Big Ben on the screen.
Oh, bring him to the stage.
What's up, guys?
Yeah, good. Ben, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell them a little about yourself.
Let me start with that TV you got there. I mean, see, I see all of the infrastructure pieces. I see the lights behind the TV and all that. I see that piece. You got your hue lights going.
You have the lights, you need the Jordans on the side.
I need to make sure my stuff is right. Hold on, let me make sure all my stuff is right. Okay, we good. What's happening, man? Definitely, man. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell the folks who you are.
Yeah, guys, thanks for having me. My name's Ben Naramore. A big sports background, as Montel was saying. Did some time with USA Football and NFL in the past and helping youth sports in the Southern California. And for the last few years, I've been working on eSports industry, helping eSports and live events with that. I mean, it's happening. You don't think so? Your kids this is what they watch on TV now. They're watching NBA 2K leagues. They're watching Madden. They're watching this stuff. It's the next level that's coming up.
I love it. Yeah, brother, Mr. Allen, that is you, sir. That's kicking off a little feedback in the background. So again, okay. I'm not sure what they go over there and knock them kids around.
I'm gonna knock some kids. I'm gonna knock somebody out. Is it bad? Is it really bad? I can't tell because I got my headphones on.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Is it really bad?
It's terrible. Okay. I can do a lot of editing, but I can't edit all that out.
I'm gonna discuss. Let me go get this straight. Go ahead, y'all do your thinking. I'm gonna go get this straight now, right now.
No worries. So But let me ask you again some things in terms of your experience with sports, your experience working with the youth. Give us, I guess, some background again in terms of I'm gonna say, why Montel brought you on, just from a history perspective.
Yeah, so started off back in the day working for USA Football for youth sports in the West Coast. So the NFL brought the program of USA Football, and back, let's say, in the late '90s, we did a lot of youth football camps all across the United States, teaching kids how to play football, how to tackle the right way, and just getting them into football. And I think football in general, that's my biggest background. I think it's key for kids to be able to play football, and especially for boys to become young men. It's a great tool to have. So helped the NFL with that for a while. Also was running a youth football in San Diego, for being one of the directors for San Diego County for Pop Warner. And I mean, those were the times of my life. You talk about these kids that I helped and coach. I mean, I get invited to their weddings now. I still talk to these young men as they've grown up, become men. And then, like I said, moving on in my career, we moved to eSports, and dude, it's popping. I'm telling you guys, you better watch out, because these kids is what they do. I mean, I get the comment all the time from older people like, well, they're just watching someone play a video game. I'm like, well, you watch someone play football, you're not throwing the ball. It's no different.
Talk about it.
So yeah, I go, don't tell them they're not playing, because you do the same thing when you're watching basketball or NFL. You're not out there shooting the ball. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same deal.
What's crazy about that is my son is going to be a senior in high school next year, and he is looking at technology, looking at that field, and interested in going in that whole esports environment, right? Of either designing games, marketing games, just the whole industry, right? So it's the real deal. And I've seen some colleges that actually have a curriculum focused on esports. So I mean, and these guys, the teams are making real grown folks money playing games or doing marketing and sponsorships and things of that nature. So it's crazy.
And watch out, they're giving college scholarships for esports. I know UC Irvine has a big esports program. Some teams in the East Coast just started up with some smaller schools, but they're giving full ride scholarships for esports now.
Let me write down Irvine, just as you said.
Yeah, UC Irvine, they have a big program. And then last year, I went to London last year for FIFA, the national championship for FIFA soccer. And I'll tell you what, I was in a stadium with about 5,000 people watching these kids play FIFA soccer for 3 days.
That is crazy.
And a 15-year-old won like $500,000 in a car. So
I went in the wrong field. I should not. Yeah. I'm doing all right in this technology field, but man, I should have just stayed with my Donkey Kong and my Pac-Man.
Yeah. I tell my mom all the time, I go, remember we had to go to church and you unplugged the Coleco from the TV? If you would have let me finish, I could be even further in my career if you let me keep playing.
See, I know you bought an old school dude on. He said the ColecoVision. That's props right there. The man said ColecoVision. So let's go ahead and get into it, man. You guys watching these games? The Olympics are on right now. I'm not sure if you knew that, but you know, it's so good. It's a bittersweet thing, right? It's a weird catch-22 because you know the world has stopped and there's so many things going on, but it is so good to see all these nations get together, have the games, compete at the highest level, see folks, see the tragedy, see the triumph, see all of, you know, the good and the bad. And be honest with you, I'm seeing some new sports that I never even thought I would be enjoying. Ben, let's start with you, man. Talk to us about how you have felt thus far watching these games.
Yeah, dude, I'm loving the 3-on-3 basketball. I'm friends. So Plum, the girl from San Diego, her dad was my son's athletic director, and Ramona. So watching her from a young age and winning the gold for women's 3-on-3. I mean, I sat there for hours watching the 3-on-3 basketball.
Man, you got all kind of hookup. Let me hold on. You're sitting a little low too. Let me. I was zooming in on the TV, but let me make sure I get. There you go. Let me get all of Naramore on there. I love it. Okay, perfect. So 3-on-3 basketball. Been watching that too. What else has kind of caught your attention? In any different sports that you typically wouldn't watch? I know we don't have curling right now. You know that's my winter.
Women's wrestling. I didn't know there was women's wrestling. the girl won the gold medal, man. She owned up and
Yes,
destroyed people.
yes.
Destroyed.
That is insane. Montel, what you watching, man? I know you watching something interesting. I know you keeping it popping over in the Allen house. You're real low, brother. You're real low. No. Get it right, brother. Get it. So I was watching sprint canoeing last night. Never heard of the sport till last night. Was just flipping back and forth trying to catch the highlights. And this 19-year-old from I believe she was from California or Southern California, won the gold medal in sprint canoeing. Essentially, they sit in a half crouch position on a canoe with one paddle. It's a 45-second race, and she's got her traps are better than mine, right? I mean, so I'm definitely going to hit the shoulders tonight just to try to compete with that 19-year-old. But that's been amazing watching that. I've been watching the skateboarding. 13-year-olds winning gold medals is incredible, is insane, and seeing the Australians and the Japan team just on the podium like that's been amazing. We know the gymnastics is what it is, right? We know we know we're gonna come out on top with that all the time when we watching the Simone Biles and everyone on the squad there from the women's side. Haven't watched too much of the men's side because I've been so focused on what's going on the women's side. But Montel, you back in now so you can kind of contribute? Oh my gosh, this dude.
Can barely hear you.
Yeah. It's like you're half plugged in. You know, you probably use no Windows PC. You probably need to reboot or something. If you were using a real machine, like a Mac Mini or a Mac Pro, you'd be all right. Volleyball is huge. Volleyball is huge too.
Did you see that men's volleyball, that serve, the guy from Italy? Dude, he hit it straight up in the air, like 80 feet in the air.
Yeah. And it got stuck.
Yeah. I'm like, what kind of serve is that?
It's. I've been watching. So on the volleyball side, I've been watching the women's teams because there's been a lot of conversation about them and just how brutally honest, great that they are, and I've been seeing it. Right. I'm not even going to try to go down to Southern California, stand out on the beach, and pretend I'm gonna go to a volleyball court and act like I'm playing after watching the level of excellence that I've been seeing with that. But it's good that the games are happening. It's good that the athletes are getting their opportunity. TV ratings are not where they should be. And you can contribute that, I guess, to the fact that no one's there, right? There's no fans there. And that's a huge blaring obstacle that's happening. What do you think would be a way for the second half of the Olympics coming up, right? We've got the U.S. men's team who's getting ready to play for the gold medal game in basketball. So that's great. They beat Australia today, but I guess since you're in eSports, since you're kind of in the industry, so to speak, what's a way that I guess NBC and some of the networks that are showing some of the games can contribute and make this something that we want to tune into? You can bring some excitement to this last few days of the games going on.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of weird. I was actually in Tokyo right before COVID, so I got to see them prepping for the Olympics, and I think it really hurt. Pushing it back a year hurt. And I think there's a lot of great athletes that aren't there because of the pushback. And I think we're missing some key athletes to begin with. And I think they should have pushed it back another year, truthfully, to let people. It's not the same. Like I said, people aren't in the stands. It's hard to get pumped up when you see this huge empty stadium with 4 people yelling, right? It's just hard. Yeah,
you see all the swimmers coming into the pool area. They're looking for accolades, right? They're calling their names and they're trying to get psyched up and get pumped up for the match, and nothing happens because nobody's there. Looks like Wattel is going to actually reboot that the Windows box. Talk to us, brother.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, I had to reboot, man. There you go. I had to reboot and join y'all, so I'm back on. Good. Question again, real quick, James. Real quick.
No, I'm gonna send you a new machine. I got a Apple laptop right here. I'm gonna send it to you. It's gonna be in the mail.
No, repeat your question, man. Repeat your question real quick.
It was about the Olympics, and are you watching the games? Are you watching any
Yeah,
sports that are different than you would typically watch? And
I, wa-
your
I
thoughts and feelings.
yeah, I watched the young lady win in the Philippines, win the gold medal. I thought
Mm-hmm.
that was awesome. I thought that was an awesome story
Yeah.
behind that. Was the first gold medal that they ever won. I watched a little bit of that on the track and field. I found myself watching the shot put, men's and
Yeah,
women's, because that
yeah,
was just awesome the way they were competing and throwing the shot put.
yeah.
I thought that was great. Other stuff watching, I've been, you catch here and there. I've been really watching volleyball, man. That they've been doing so good in the volleyball thing. It's just so many different pieces. Not the beach volleyball I can't get into too much, but the regular volleyball is,
Yeah,
so much going on. The U.S. team is awesome,
yeah.
especially since their top two players got hurt and the subs had to come in and they played
Yes,
really really well.
yes.
I just think those kind of things have just been interesting. I even found myself watching archeries too, which I don't. I mean, the bow and arrow thing is cool, but I mean, you know how that goes. But I mean, I agree with Ben 100%. These are just different, man. This Olympics is so different and so not fun or not enthusiastic or not
Yes. Yeah.
there because there's no fans there. There's no fans there rooting them on. And me personally, being an econ business major in college, I just can see the economy of Tokyo, man. It's just gone. I don't know what they're gonna do because they put so much money
Yeah.
into making this such a big deal, and now it's getting ready to come to an end, and there's nothing there. I mean, let's be honest, there's nothing there. There's no revenue from people staying in hotels or from tourism, and there's not going to be any money coming in soon because of the COVID.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm not quite sure what they're going to do as far as an economy is concerned, and it's kind of disheartening because you hear all the telling tales of what happened from them going up to the Olympics, the things they had to do in order to make things right, and people had to suffer obviously because of displacement because they were building new things and doing all this other stuff. Now you come back and say that they thought they were going to get billions of dollars. Now there's nothing. And
And Montel, so this isn't the, I mean, if you
yeah,
look at Olympics in the past, like you
hmm
look at you come back 10 years later, these stadiums are falling down and
hmm
not being used, especially after a COVID year. Do you think that this is going to impact other countries from volunteering to hosting the
yeah,
Olympics? Like,
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely,
maybe I don't want to host it.
yeah,
absolutely. I think Los Angeles needs to really think about it. I really do. I think LA
Yeah.
needs to really think about, do they really want to host the Olympics coming up in the next 3 years?
mm-hmm.
Because I mean, yes, you'll get a U.S. base, and U.S. fans are really fanatical about spending money, but your real money comes in from people that outside of the U.S. coming to here and spending those dollars.
Yeah. The
You know,
hotel
this
revenue, the
yeah,
restaurant revenue, everything outside of the actual in the game. Yeah,
exactly. This is the one event, maybe outside the Super Bowl, that they really count on those international dollars, or the World Cup, the international dollars really coming in and driving a really surge into the economy.
mm-hmm.
This is the one event that does it, and Tokyo is an epic fail with this one, unfortunately. And it's not. I don't. It's not the part could due to the pandemic. I really like I said, like you said, Ben. I wish they would have just said, "We're stopping. We're gonna push it out another year or two, and we just got to
Yeah.
figure out how to recalibrate the Olympics every 4 years." I think that would have been
Mm.
the best move for everybody. But as you know, TV dollars drives a lot. NBC wanted their
Yeah,
money because they invested so much money in this, so they said we need something for viewers to look at. We're gonna give it to them no matter what it is, and hopefully buy it. But I mean, no memorabilia, no travel, no hotel stay, no car rentals, no visiting tourism money, no just out fans, no restaurants, all that money's gone, and they can't.
yeah,
And I don't know how they're gonna recoup it as a country. So it's kind of sad in that instance. Happy for the athletes, but that's such a small microcosm of that whole economy, which should be really thriving in this certain situation. So it's disheartening a little bit. But watching it, like I said, I'm engaged but kind of disengaged. I'm not really excited about it. Just what's on TV, and I like to see the competitive spirit of people.
yeah. It's almost your duty, right? You got to watch some
Yeah.
piece of it. You got to watch the opening, a little bit of it at least. It's tough to watch the whole thing because it's so long. But you got to see who's the last person, the last torchbearer. You got to see a little bit of that. You got to watch a little bit of the closing. You got to watch your country when they're playing kind of those major events, just to be able to talk around the water cooler, right, and say, yeah, I saw whomever do something. Kevin Cox is bringing up a good statement here because you were talking about L.A., right? L.A. doesn't necessarily have to build new facilities for the Olympics, but just kind of like other folks, just because L.A.'s already got a lot of facilities, right? They got the Rose Bowl, they've got all these other facilities already put in place. They'll probably have to do some remodeling, some reconfigurations and things of that nature. But
Yeah.
LA's probably the outlier to that. If they go anywhere else
Right.
in the States, right, there's a whole lot of reconstruction and building and the
Yeah,
cost of all
yeah,
that.
but
So
but due to this thing with LA, there's other things that go on that infusion for because that money's already spent and those tax dollars are
yeah,
already being
yeah,
they're really counting on the hotels, the tourism, the influence of money that's coming in the restaurants and all that. And if that doesn't come in and you're planning this money for that, it's kind of a walk. It drives a lot of some places out of business. Let's be honest with you.
Right.
And the city has to be prepared because the city has to spend money on security. Obviously, especially
hmm
nowadays with security, you have to spend a lot of money on security. You have to spend a lot of money now on just isolating these athletes from COVID and all that stuff and placing people there. And then I don't know if he's ever been to LA, but the travel through LA. You can't stay on one
There's
side of LA
no
and think
train.
you can get to an event on
yeah.
time. You can't.
405 is
No
not a good
subway.
Yeah,
freeway.
There's
Yeah,
nothing.
405 is not a good freeway.
exactly. So I think they invest a lot of money in that with the underground rail, like their subway equivalent
yeah.
and all that other stuff in the light rail. So there's a lot that goes into it, and I believe LA, and he's right, the Bay Area would probably be a good place as well. But there's a lot of money that still goes into it. Maybe not not the construction, but all the infrastructure that goes around just having an Olympic event, which
Yeah.
is still which is still billions of dollars. And again, you lay the pandemic on top of that,
hmm
man. It's just not feasible for the community or for that city. I
Yeah.
think as of right now, there's
Yeah.
just too much effect too much affects it.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what the balance sheet looks like right after these games are over. What was how much in the black or how much in the red that Tokyo actually is and was, and if they start making some decisions, maybe shortening the games, maybe again lowering the budget, lowering doing whatever, trying to be something creative because again it doesn't look like it's going to really be a good thing financially for anyone. So
Hmm.
I'm sad about being in the industry. I go to Japan a lot. The people of Japan are beautiful. The countries are beautiful. So I think the world's missing out on a beautiful
Hmm.
country and beautiful people for
hmm
sure.
Yep.
hmm
Yeah.
good point there too, Kevin. Yeah, Rio, everything there is just kind of mothballed and falling apart. I've seen that. That's horrible. All right. We'll see. We'll see. We got how many more days of the games we got? Like I said, the Team USA beat Australia today. Didn't think that they've been playing half baked and they actually won. It was what, like I say, 97-78 or something like that. We'll see what Durant and Lillard and who else we got? We got Devin Booker on the team. So
Devin Booker,
yeah, we got Booker on it. Someone's got to score, so we need Book to come in and fix his nose, which is broken, and score some points for the team, so we can win.
I think Barkley was almost getting ready to fly over and help him out
Yeah.
because
You know, did you hear what I think Dame Lillard was saying that, it was either Dame or Draymond was saying that they said the NBA has made them soft in international game because calls they get in the NBA, they're not getting those
not
push
going to get.
calls or hand check calls that you used to getting. You don't get that in an international game. So he was like, the NBA is starting to make us soft when it comes to this play because we don't. This is a foul when we
Yeah.
play it. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not a foul at that level. So I thought that was a really interesting take. Saying how the supposed to be the sport with supposedly have the greatest athletes that you're saying that now the league and the rules around the league are making you soft where you can't play at the international level or you can't play at your maximum level at the international level. I thought that was kind of
Yeah.
hilarious.
Well, I'll add in, and I'll let you interject as well if you want, Ben. But I saw a story about, and I think it was directly related to Harden, right? James Harden. He will no longer get that foul called as he leans in to his opponent while he's trying to make that shot, right? Because and that's one of the reasons that I really don't like Harden. I don't like who else is it? Who else is it I don't like?
Man,
Chris
you
Paul.
tripping?
I don't like James Harden. I don't like Chris Paul, and just because of the way they play. But you know what? They're phenomenal athletes. They do great things. I don't want to get in no fights with any of them or any of their fans. So don't come around my house. I'm just telling you, Harden is now going to have a harder time next season with his little lean in. I'll show you the story. You go ahead and talk.
No, I know the story you're talking about, but James Harden is probably the best one-on-one scorer in the NBA right now. There's no one that can shut him down one-on-one. Now,
Well, tell you
if he's doing
what, once he can't get them fouls called anymore, we'll see what
I
happens.
ain't gonna stop that, man. The NBA just trying to stir something up. Now, what they need to do is call that kick rule sticking your leg out. That should be an automatic foul on offense. That's the one they need to change.
Now you're
But I
talking about
mean,
Draymond.
let
See,
them.
now you're talking about Draymond.
I'm talking about your boy
And,
Booker.
and,
That's what I'm talking about.
Ben,
and
I'm
let's be
gonna need
honest,
some help, Ben. Yeah, I'm gonna need some help.
is this the best player? Is this the best 10 players in the NBA playing over there?
No, not even close. Not even
No,
close.
no.
Not even close.
So, I mean, it's pretty hard to watch that team when you know it's not the 10 best players in the NBA.
Yeah, but I mean, even though I know that everyone says the international game is caught up to the NBA, me personally, I wish they still would have stuck with the college formula. Taking the best
Yeah.
players out of college because they would have stayed. They would have that would encourage some of them guys to stay
Yeah.
longer in college. And two, I think they're hungrier to go play over there. NBA guys have really nothing to prove.
Yeah.
This is just
Yeah. They're not
this is
hungry
pickup.
anymore.
Yeah, this is just pickup game for them. Hey, cool, we represent our country. They all want either the NBA championship
Yeah.
or they looking for the money dollar. The international
I
goal
mean,
doesn't really mean too much.
that's why the dream team is so great, right? We hadn't done it forever, so they were hungry. They wanted to prove a point that we're the best players in the world. Now it's been going on for so long, they're like, man, I'm not interested in no winning.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
no interest
they
in
don't
it.
play. They don't play like a team, just
Yeah.
like Kevin is saying, right? It's
Yeah.
just it's like the All-Star game, right? They're out there, and it's all. I'm for myself. I'm trying to get the highlight reel. I'm working on my brand, right? And I'm not saying anyone's saying that out loud, but again, it just looks that way when they don't really look like a cohesive unit out there.
It's totally opposite for the women's basketball. They
Yeah.
play excellent team ball
Yeah.
in the international.
Yeah.
I mean, Sue Berg and Tarowski and all them.
Amazing.
They play. I mean, they're playing like the best ball I've ever seen. I mean, I've seen a
Yeah.
girls team play.
Yeah.
The
Amazing.
way they're playing. So it's funny. It's like night and day between the men and women. It's funny like that.
I don't know. I do wish that I feel sorry. Well, I don't feel sorry. I feel bad for the women's soccer team, though, our U.S. soccer team, because that was the last USA jersey that I bought when they won the World Cup, and the fact that they aren't going to be able to play for the gold. I think they have to settle for probably the bronze, and that's great too, right? But again, since they lost that game, and that was Carly Lloyd's probably her last. Opportunity. This is probably her last Olympics, but that's all good. That was
Commenting on James and Ben commenting on that. Do you think some of it's their fault because they kept those older players and then they didn't inject some youth on that team? A lot of the women's soccer team.
Yeah. Ooh. Ben,
Because I mean,
go,
as great as they've been, there's not a lot of youth on that team. There's a lot of veterans, but I do think there is something when you inject youth, especially in international competition, because they're so hungry and they're so destined and there's so much energy. It almost seemed like the U.S. women's soccer team thought they were going to win just on merit, and it didn't go that way from day one.
Yeah, no. I agree. I think they blew up last Olympics, and then, like I said, I think they've been living on that legend for the last 4 years, and even during the tournaments during the year, they slowly haven't been as great as they have. And like you said, there's been no young superstars stepping up for leadership roles or to take that team over. There's no one to say it's your team now.
Yeah.
Take the reins.
Yeah.
Now, Ben, I love your comment. I shot that directly at James.
He's trying to pick at a scab because he wants to start up something. I'm not even going.
I'm picking that scab real quick.
I'm not.
Come on, Mr.
That.
Remember you bought the jersey and all that. Come on, man. give me that insight.
No, look, I somewhat agree, right? But again, it's tough to pull a veteran off the field, off of the court, off of the diamond, whatever the case may be, right? How you gonna pull a Kevin Durant, a LeBron James, whomever, right? Someone who represents the sport in name, face, name, image, and likeness. Hold that thought, folks. How you going to pull them off of the playing field, right? When it's the biggest game of the year, of the century. So yeah, it may have made more sense to put in some folks with some fresher legs who have probably done some different types of maneuvers. But Megan Rapinoe is going to be out there. Carly Lloyd's going to be out there. It just is what it is.
Is that your job as a leader, to understand, like, hey, I'm not up to par anymore as a leader. I'm going to step back a little. I need to be here, but I'm going to step back a little bit on my role. and what I'm giving to the team. To be a great athlete and a great leader, isn't that part of the job? Once you get to that limit, I mean, we've seen it happen all the time in pro sports that guys go, you know what, I'm not there anymore. I'm going to step back and take a different role.
I think I've seen a lot of athletes say that in the locker room or at the
good.
bar or at a restaurant, but when it's between the lines, when after you suit them up, right? And you guys all know too. We've all been there. We've laced them up, suited them up. We don't want to come out. Irregardless of broken hand, broken foot, I can't see out of one eye. Put me in, coach. Rub some dirt on it, right? And I think it's that mentality. No player who was at the top of their game, who knows that they're doing all the Subway commercials, the Megan Rapinos, that kind of thing. They're not going to go sit out. They don't want to come off. No one wants to come off the bench. Nothing's wrong with coming off the bench. I just don't think that. I don't think that the players would have gotten off the field peacefully. I think the coach would have had an issue, and I do think that the coach probably should have made some decisions, but that would have been just a tough decision, which would have caused some static in the press and in the news. I do.
And I hear you, James. I think you're absolutely right, but that's why you have a coach. I don't think it's up to players. I think that's why you have a coach to say, hey, you know what? I need to put somebody else in. We need to sit you down. I think that's been, and I'm going to go back a little bit. That's why Pop I can't pronounce the name.
Popovich.
Popovich, when he lost in the Dream Team the first time.
Yeah.
And that's why he's struggling right now.
Yeah.
He's keeping guys in because they just want to be in or because of their namesake, not because of their production and them running what they want to run.
Yeah.
I think at some point you got to realize, either a coach has to realize, or like you said, Ben, the star of the team or somebody on the team that has to realize we need to either change this up or do something different in order for us to be successful, because everyone's starting to catch up. As you know, like you said, James, no one ever wants to come out, but we also know the level of competition and the level of being expert at executing.
Yeah.
That margin grows closer and closer. And as you get older, the younger ones they start to catch up a lot faster to get closer. So I agree with you. No one wants to come off the field, but there needs to be someone in place to tell you, you know what? It's time for James to step in from Montel, because James is producing a little bit more than Montel is. That's just the reality of the sport, and everybody knows it. Unfortunately, I think the women's soccer team just didn't do that. I think, like you said, Ben, they've been living off winning that, taking her shirt off and sliding.
Yeah.
They've been living off of that picture for the last 10, 12 years. And it caught up with them, and obviously caught up with them with Canada. I mean, Canada was so happy to beat them.
Yeah.
When they beat them in that kick.
Yeah.
They were. I mean, they thought they looked like they won everything at that point. I thought that was great, but I think also on the opposite side on the men's basketball team, it kind of tailors over there. Pop is not managing them. He's not managing like Coach K does. When Coach K did and Kobe was there, look, hey, you ain't playing. You don't have that dominating personality also on their team. Kobe's a dominating personality. LeBron's a dominating personality. Kevin Durant is dominating on the court. He's not a dominating personality. On the court.
Kevin worries too much about what we're thinking about, right? Because he's always looking at his feed or his IG. Yeah.
So they're missing a lot. They're missing a lot of that. Their skill set, they can beat anybody in the world every given day. But the dominating personality is not on that team. There's no one to say, hey, we're down. We need to pick it up. We need to play defense. They basically get themselves in holes, and then they say, you know what? I just start shooting. And when they go, they go, and when they don't go, they don't go. So I don't know. USF basketball right now is kind of trash.
I love it. Just start shooting. As soon as they inbound the ball, just start shooting. My goodness, that's terrible. Man, you see what you done walked into, man. You already know, man. This is how we get down. Welcome to Team No Sleep, where we break it down. All right. We hinted at it. Let's go ahead and get into a little bit more of a detailed conversation. And this is, we keep talking about it because it's relevant. Name, image, and likeness, folks. We talked about it literally the day before it was announced to the world, and told you that every single amateur athlete in the NCAA was going to find a way to, I don't want to say cash in, but to take advantage in a good way, take advantage of this new opportunity. Because again, finally, these athletes are going to be able to actually gain revenue, take care of themselves, take care of their family off of their abilities. And it's just rightfully so. It's a long time coming. It's only been how long has it been? Only a couple of weeks, couple of months, right? Since this whole thing
About a
is
month,
really
roughly about a month. Roughly about a month.
has
Yeah.
blossomed and ballooned out. Ben, from your perspective, talk to us about what you're hearing and seeing, because again, you're kind of intertwined with some of the things that are happening with some athletes, probably. But your thoughts, your personal thoughts and perspectives on the NIL situation, and how do you think that it will shape up once school starts, and once the teams
Yeah.
actually start lacing up and getting out there on the field?
And I have a couple different views, right? As in the video game industry, I'm super excited, right? Because some old school games like NCAA football and basketball games everyone played can come back now. People wanted them to come back, and we can put college kids in games. But from a personal standpoint, like I said, my son played college sports. I played college sports. I think this was needed, but is it the right way they did it? Right? There's going to be some disparity between
Mm-hmm.
Texas and Humboldt State, right? Or I mean, even between the D1s, there's San Diego State and USC. There's going to be some differences, right? So how does this impact recruiting? How does this impact the league formation? I think we don't know the impact of this yet. As you guys talked about, once we start the actual practice starts and more money starts flowing, this is going to impact the future of college athletics and how it's viewed and how we see it, for sure. So I mean, I see both sides.
Let me take him somewhere, and I know you want to go in a couple of directions too, Montel. So we've only talked about the game and then the revenue, more money in the checkbook. Montel and I have talked a lot about just the whole aspect of, again, I'm a 17, 18, 19-year-old coming from living wherever I live with $100 in my pocket. Now I got Burger King offering me $50,000 to go up and flip Whoppers for a day. That's a whole different conversation that's starting to happen now, again, at that 17, 18, 19-year-old. What are your thoughts about, again, who owns ensuring that young athlete is represented, taken care of, is cognizant of how to work with that type of new influx of cash? Do we as a society have ownership for that? What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I mean, this goes back to our talk about sports and society, right? As we're saying, sports mold these young athletes from a young age. I think it's going to get even more important for coaches, family members to help these kids out. I mean, I always like going back to the Reggie Bush situation of, man, he was doing it under the table. Or even Johnny Manziel came out recently and said, hey, I got paid $30,000 to sign 100 autographs every week. He was making $30,000 a week under the table with no one knowing it. Crazy. So it's been going on, like it or not, already. And I think direction, I think the NCAA should help with, like, I don't even know if it's with social workers or investment managers with these kids on how to stay straight and use that money correctly. But I mean, the kids deserve it. I mean, that's a hard conversation too. I remember having this conversation with parents or people against college sports. Are like, well, you're getting a degree. I'm like, yeah, these kids, they don't have time to get a job. When you play football, 6 a.m, you're going to lift weights. You go to school, then practice from 3 to 10 o'clock at night. Then you got an hour to do homework and go to sleep and do it all. You don't got time to have a job. So don't tell me
that's true.
They have time to get a job. These kids deserve the money, but I agree. There's got to be some direction because money's going to be thrown everywhere.
Yeah.
The floodgates have opened. And well, you guys see that Texas quarterback, he's skipping his senior year of high school.
Yes.
Right. Yep. I don't think that's a good. I don't think. Well, I'll leave that alone. But I don't really think that's a great.
See, you guys have been hypocritical. Yes, it is a great idea because he's going to skip high school.
I don't think
go to Ohio State. He's already signed a contract to make $800,000.
Yeah.
So how are you going to tell me that's not great for 18-year-old in his family to skip high school to go be a red shirt and make $800,000? You're being a hypocrite. Look, his job is to go make money, right?
His job is also to get an education. His job.
He graduated though. He's graduated from high school.
So if he graduates, That's it. Get that piece of paper and let his mom throw the confetti when he walks. Just get that piece of paper signed. Get that. At least have that in his back pocket as well. But if he's leaving just because he's a junior and saying I got all this cash waiting for me for going here, I don't agree with that. I don't agree in the gap years and trying to come back and try to get that.
Okay,
education.
hold on one second, Ben. So you mean tell me you said it was okay for those basketball players to sign those contracts and play when they're 16 through 18, and that was okay for them to make money, but it's not okay for the school.
So my understanding was that they were still in school though. So,
but he is in school, but he's going to college. He's just skipping playing his senior year football and going and enrolling in Ohio State. He's going to Ohio State.
Okay, so if he's still going to some type of education piece,
then he's not just leaving. He's not a dropout. Yeah.
There we go. Because I would have problems with that. Daddy would have a problem with that. But as long as he's still pursuing the education piece, because anything can happen in sports, right? You can break your ankle walking outside to get the mail, and then that whole thing is over. Right. So as long as that part is happening, then I'm good. Okay.
Yeah, he's just skipping his senior year high school football.
Then I retract.
But he's already enrolled. He's enrolled to go to Ohio State now. He's just not playing football. He's gonna go redshirt at Ohio State because he already has contracts in line for his NIL up to $800,000. So I don't see no problem with it.
Montel,
I'm glad I'm standing today.
Now, are we going to get these kids taking their GEDs and the requirements are going to be lowered by these schools because they're going to go, well, listen here, if I can get this kid in early and he doesn't get hurt his senior year, we'll let him into USC.
Yep.
Think about that. That's a whole different conversation. Just what you said right now off the top of the dome. That's a whole different conversation now.
Well, we've already seen kids leave early to go to school. That's been something happening a lot. But now I think it's going to happen more so. Like the trend, that's going to be a trend for those 5-star athletes. Hey, you know what? I can go ahead and go. I got my junior film. I've already got the offer. If I can go ahead and cash out on my GED, or if I got enough credits to graduate, I'm going to early enroll in college right now, and I'm going to go get paid while I go play. That's just the nature of the beast that's going to be right now. That's just another facet of the NIL that's going to affect recruiting and affect the way things go. I want to touch up on another part.
Negatively.
Go
Negatively,
back.
You're going to see this. Montel, you already see this, where we see kids, I had this, you see it, where kids think they're too good for D3 or NAIA. Mm-hmm. So now they're going to say, well, if I go D3, I ain't going to get no money. So I'm going to hold out because I'm going to go D1 and get the money. Where we know these kids aren't going D1, but less kids are going to go to college because they're going to have that mindset of, I need to get that money.
I agree with you to a degree. But this is going to be where I think coaches need to come in. Parents need to be very honest with their child, and the kid needs to be honest with himself. Where do you fit in? I think there'll be money for D3s, especially in the rural areas, because those local businesses they'll give them a little bit of money here and there from the NIL. But like you said, those guys that are living that dream. Hey, I'm Division One. I'm a Division One, but you're a 5'9" quarterback. It's not going to happen.
Parents aren't honest. They're living.
Yes, they're not.
They're lying to their kids.
Talk about that though, man. Right again, because every parent swears that their kid should be starting, should be, whatever.
Ben knows
I get in fights with family members, kids that I go, your kid's not good enough for D1. I can get him into D3. No, he's going to Notre Dame. I'm like, no, he's not. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to.
Maybe on an academic scholarship, but not on an athletic one.
They'd rather not play than go to a D3 or NAIA, and that's shameful.
That's crazy.
Well, you know what's so sad about that? Because I deal with it all the time, Ben. I deal with the All-Star. I deal with it every year. A ton of kids that want to go or not go. I call it the 33rd and 1/3%. 33rd and 1/3 will go. They'll go to school. They'll do everything they're supposed to do. They'll figure it out. They'll graduate. 33 and 1/3 will be in limbo. They can't figure out what to do. They may go to JC. They'll still try it. They'll go and they'll try it all. And the last 33rd will mess it all up. They will not go to school. They'll drop out. They'll try to live the D1 dream, try to figure it out, and it'll all fizzle on out. At the bottom line, what I don't think kids understand, look, 80% of everybody on Alabama doesn't go to the NFL.
That's true.
80% of that team never plays in the NFL ever.
That's true.
Matter of fact, 80% of that team never sees the field. They are on the bench just standing there wearing a uniform.
That's true.
And they go to practice. So you mean to tell me out of the 120 players they have on there, 80 of those guys are not ever playing. There's only the guys that start and a few reserves that play, and they get to go to the NFL. That's it every year. Most of those guys are on the bench.
Hold that point right there, because this is perfect right here. I mean, it's almost like Brother Cox is reading your mind. So his comment right about that is, but if you can be a top dog on a second-tier team instead of a bench player in a top program, that NIL money makes sense, right?
Well, the thing is, yeah, he was reading to my comment. If you're not playing on Saturdays, you will never play on Sunday. So you need to find a place where you can play on Saturday, so you can get an opportunity to play on Sunday.
But tell me this, Montel, we've heard it over and over. How many kids won't leave because it's not worth it for them to go to D2? They'd rather sit on
33 and 1/3. I'm telling you.
They'd rather sit on the bench.
That's that new Montel math right there, boy.
Yeah. It's 1 out of every 3 that won't go. I've had parents and kids tell me, got not full rides because you can't get a full ride in D2, but damn it, they're paying $0. $0.
Right.
They say, "Oh, my baby's not going to go there because it's in the." They'll make every excuse not to go there and play, and go to JC and try to roughhouse the JC route, which is a much harder route, and then say what happens after that. And 9 out of 10 times, they fall right back in the same spot after JC. They're still getting offered by Division 2s and not Division 1s. I've only had 2 players in my whole. I've been doing this for a long time. Only 2 players have proved me wrong. One was Kinslow. I forgot Kinslow's last name. He played at Helix. He didn't want to go there. He ended up going to JC. He went to USD, Division 1 program. And his brother went to Youngstown State. Youngstown State did the same exact thing. So they didn't go big time Division 1. They went Division 1 AA. I told them they were D2 players. Okay. But they went Division 1. Out of all this time, I've hardly ever been wrong. These guys don't understand, man. Like, I think people need to take their kid, go to a real live Division 1 game, and let your son sit there and watch his position. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if you're not the best on your team, not the best on your league, not the best in your county, and not one of the best in your state, you are not Division 1. Now,
tell the truth.
I'll be honest with you. There's some exceptions to the rules. Don't get me wrong, but Division 1 is like NFL. It's a cookie cutter. You got to fit a certain size, certain speed, certain everything in order for you to get your foot in the door. And if you don't meet those criteria, they cut you out. Now, again, there's some exceptions to the rules. Some guys do something so dominant when they don't meet some of those other attributes that they're able to get in and be able to shine. But they don't talk. They'll talk about that one, how great he is. They'll never talk about the 1,100,000 and never make it, that had that same attribute and never get in. So you got to be careful of falling into that hole. Working with Nike, working with the Nike guys, when I was working with them and doing the things they're doing, you will see all these guys that were supposed to be top athletes, but when you start to get the measurables and start doing them and putting people side by side and see what's going on, you could easily tell who's not a Division 1 athlete and who's not. It's really black and white.
You can't teach size and speed. Right?
No, you can't.
You got it. You don't.
You can't buy that.
Montel knows my son. He was a college quarterback. He's not 6'4". He's 6 foot tall. So I told him, I'm like, you're not D1. You're not 6'4". That's what they want. They're looking for this mold, and that's not you. So let's go talk to these D2s if you want to play.
My son, my youngest son now is going to college. He's going to Southwest Minnesota State. He had aspirations of going to Division 1. I want to play D1. Great, son. Great that you want to, but let's talk reality. Let's talk reality at this point. Your numbers are pretty good. You've shown some glimpses. You're strong. You got all these things, but you don't fit that mold. And if you don't fit that mold, your numbers need to be astronomically out of the ballpark when you don't meet that mold. And if your numbers are then they may question your way a little bit. But I don't. You're not going Division 1. So let's concentrate on being dominant at the Division 2 level and developing. See, the thing that people don't understand at D1, the development rule is over with. They're not there to develop you anymore. Division 1, you better already be developed, and they're coaching you at that point. At least, and I taught my son at Division 2 and maybe Division 1 AA, they will help develop you. They want to build a program around the players they bring in. Big time Division 1 programs aren't talking about building no program. You either ready or not, and if you ain't ready, back to the bench, homeway. And matter of fact, you might get cut if you keep messing around.
Yeah.
So I don't think people understand the dynamics of Division 1 football. One, how cutthroat it could be, and how crazy it is as far as getting kids in and being able to sustain it. We're in San Diego. We have a ton of talent in football, just like in Sacramento. I'm talking about a ton of talent. Guys that are Division I talent. How many guys fizzle out of just going to San Diego State that we thought were going to be
All
great,
day
great high
long.
school players every year? I mean, guys usually, oh, they went to San Diego State, they're going to be something. Fizzled on out. Don't know where they're at now. Never played. Some quit. We don't even know what happened. And I'm talking about that's a large scale amount of kids that if they want to win Division II route or maybe a lower level route, they would be superstars and maybe even competing for All Americans. I think some of them had that kind of ability.
Okay.
But they don't. For some reason, someone equates Division I with the NFL, and it doesn't work that way. That's not the ultimate way to get into the league or the way to be able to prosper. The thing is, you got to be able to play on Saturdays, be effective on Saturdays, and see it go. And you're seeing it in the draft. Guys from NAIA, guys from Division
Yeah.
III, guys from
Yeah.
Division II are getting drafted now.
They start to get looks. That's true.
Yeah, they're starting to get looks now. And if they don't get looks on that, they go over and play in Canada. Canada's full of Division II and Division III guys that are playing over there. Now you have the XFL and these other leagues that are popping up with these Division II and Division III guys. Guys are playing overseas that are Division II and III guys. But you know what? All those guys have in common? They played on Saturdays. They weren't on the bench at a Division I program.
Make it plain, brother. Keep talking.
Yeah.
I'm letting the conversation go because that's making it plain.
I'm sorry. I think I've molded this question and we've kind of shifted. But my original comment was it's going to be interesting to see how this molds all of it from NIA to D1.
Yeah.
It's going to be an interesting couple years of how this changes college sports. It's going to be an evolution.
Yeah,
for
sure.
I got one comment though. So I mean, I want to go back to like your original what you were talking about as far as the money shift, and we can already see the money shifting now with I believe Texas and Oklahoma is going to the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a done deal. So with that being said, they're going there for the money reasons because now they get big time recruits, and now they have a prime time game every week they play going to the SEC. They're not going to be playing no Kansas, where Kansas is 0-8 and they're going to be 10-0. That's not going to happen in the SEC, you know. So they made that shift to go over there. Now I'm hearing rumblings that the Big 12 is trying to shop to get teams going in. Maybe San Diego State might be one. That's just another discussion. But everybody's positioning themselves for money, to get money and get recruits and be dominant, just for this NIL reason for real. Because the better you are as a team, the more TV time you get, the more exposure you get, and the more of an NIL you're going to be able to get for some of these people. I think go to your original question, Ben, like how it's going to tear down. I think it's going to tear down in the smaller markets. I mean, obviously, big time guys at SEC are going to get big time money, and it's just going to kind of scale itself all the way down to the smaller schools to where guys are getting $50, you know, to do something.
And as a coach in recruiting, how do I say it? I'm from Texas. You come here, I guarantee you, I got a deal with Burger King already. It's going to give you $100,000 every year you start.
Then you know what?
Right?
You're going to lose out. I have this argument, everybody. I think USC and UCLA right now have the best advantage of recruiting right now with the NIL.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I could put you in films. I could put you in commercials. I could put you in anything you want. You just come here. You come here, you'll be an extra and a bodyguard, and you'll make $1,500 a week. What freshman is going to turn that down? And you're going to be around all the beautiful women and be able to do all this stuff. Right. You can go to the Playboy Mansion and take pictures and be in Playboy. And they got such a big advantage at USC and UCLA. It's crazy. And now, what does that do to the schools like, let's play San Diego State and Boise State? If I'm going after the same recruit, these schools win out every time. Now, the only thing is there's only so many out. There's only so many scholarships they can give. So eventually you'll run out. But you know, you're going to be able to get the kind of player you want with the NIL. I think NCAA purposely released this because I think it's something that's going to tear itself down before it blossoms and be okay. Because I don't think a lot of kids are ready for that kind of impact and that kind of money.
And how about this? How long before colleges like USC and UCLA goes, I don't have any scholarships left, but I can guarantee you that I can get you a contract to get paid. You're not going to get a scholarship, but I got a deal with Subway, so you're getting money, so that can pay for school, right? So that
I think they're going to use all
scholarships.
Yeah. They're going to be able to use all that for walk-on money, everything. They're going to be able to use all that stuff to their advantage to be able to land big-time recruits. Now, right now, the SEC is hot because everybody wants to play for Alabama. I think Georgia in the Atlanta area, that anywhere there was a big metropolis, they are going to benefit because they got a lot of money where they can go ahead and market these kids. I feel sorry for schools like Boise, BYU, places that are in smaller markets. You're never going to attract the top recruit ever again. Those days are over with. They won't ever happen no more.
And you're going to see a shift in the powerhouses. You're going to see it switch back to the USC's, Texas, Miami, schools in big cities that have the money to give.
Yep, I agree with that 100%.
Alabama's not a big city. They don't have that much money to give like
No,
Texas,
but
Miami, or USC.
I think with Alabama, the unique thing that they have Nick Saban, and they got they have the powerhouse of they keep rolling. Them and Clemson, because both Clemson's in a small city as well right now. But I will, you're absolutely right. That power shift is going to switch in the next 3 years. You'll see all the top recruits going to UCLA, USC, maybe Georgia Tech, Georgia. They're going to go to where the big cities are at because they know that money is going to be there. And I'm not talking about small chump change no more. I'm talking about kids are going to be signing.
Yeah, it's TV money. It's brand money.
Yeah, it's TV money. I'm getting $50,000 just to go sign with USC, and they want me just to, I'm coming in as a nickelback. And I'm not projected to start yet, but they're gonna give me $50,000. And once I start starting, I'm gonna be making $100,000 a year or $150,000. I mean, this is ridiculous to be giving these kind of kids this kind of money with no management skills, no money skills, no other skills. Because as me and James are talking, this scenario I always like to paint. These kids make money for 4 years, right? He's making $100,000 for 4 years. He doesn't make the NFL and he doesn't make anywhere. What happens to that young man now?
Yeah. When that little money that he's getting from Subway and Starbucks and Burger King dries up because he can't get out there and produce anymore. You're right.
I predict this. Go. No. Let me just say real quick, Ben. I predict this real quick. I believe there is going to be a mental health issue in college sports in the next 5 to 6 years where we're going to deal with a high suicide rate of former athletes. I'm telling you, because the psyche of someone that's been playing for all these years, playing at a high level, and it automatically stops for all those athletes that's been there, you go into a depression mode. Or automatically, when you're senior year and you know you're not playing no more, there's a depression mode, whether it's high school or so on. You go into some type of depression mode. And now you add, I have no way of feeding. I don't have any more ways to generate money. So you add that on top of poverty and less options, you got a big cocktail for disastrous situations. So I would hope the NCAA starts to recognize it, could foresee it, but I don't know what's going to happen.
And it happens already. You know this, Montel. I'll give an example. When Jordan was at Humboldt, his roommate was one of San Diego's top receivers. He got to Humboldt. He wasn't playing. After a month, he quit. He couldn't deal with not being a superstar receiver and not starting every day, and he quit. He didn't make it past a month. Yeah, it's already happening.
Wow.
Yeah, but now let's put this dynamic right. You just said he goes to Humboldt. Someone's offered him $25,000 a month, so he's not quitting now. He's gonna play. He's on the bench. He's riding. He's depressed, and now after the year he quits. So now I'm no longer making the money I was making when I was spending and balling out or doing whatever he was doing, or the money I was just sending back from mom for rent is ran out, and my options are limited. You're dealing with now a big time psyche that this kid no one has equipped him to deal with. As we get older, we learn how to deal with adversity and deal with things and deal with disappointment. It's hard to tell somebody that's 18, 19, 20 years old, it's over with, and now you're dealing with all the disappointment, and now you're cutting off the financial factor.
Mm-hmm.
See, right now they're not dealing with the financial factor. That's something you don't have to think about.
Yeah.
Now you have to deal with it. So I'm real. The NCAA is not full of dumb people. I know that for a fact. They're not dumb people because they made all this money for all these years. So why would you unleash a beast like this on when you know a ton of the athletes that are going to benefit from a lot of money come from situations where they don't know how to manage money, very poor management. It happens in the NFL all the time. Guys go broke all the time. Yeah, what makes you think you're not going to be able to deal with that whole different kind of psyche at collegiate athletes? Because now, at this point, they're no longer college athletes, they're pros, they're professionals.
Yeah.
They're getting paid.
Here's the reality. NCAA don't care. NCAA is about the NCAA.
Exactly. That's my point.
Yeah, that's true.
They don't care. They do not care. They don't care.
You are now part of the machine officially. Now that you're getting paid, you're officially part of the business machine. And that so folks, that I'm talking to the audience, right? This is why we keep hounding on this comment and on this topic, because it's so relevant, it's so timely, and someone needs to be having this conversation. Hopefully someone in the boardrooms at the Nikes and the Reeboks and at the Crimson Tide and at wherever is having these conversations about preparing these young folks to be prepared for these checks. and how to deal with it, and how to manage it, and how to take care of themselves mentally and financially, spiritually, all of that, right? Because it's coming down, and there's going to be a lot of folks with with broken hearts when they are no longer on the team, no longer wanted. They hurt themselves, so now it all dries up. And I like how, and I don't like the truth of it, but I like the fact that you keep talking about it, Montel. There's going to be some serious consequences of some of these people who, again, start with nothing, end up having a lot. Something happens, and then they don't have anything, and they don't have nowhere to go. So let's just hope that something keeps talking. We keep talking. Let's just hope that something happens again within the organizations that are running these situations. So
Absolutely.
So I just thought of a different scenario. I just thought about, so I'm Nike, I sign a kid and I go, listen, I'm giving you money, but guess what? These are the schools that are Nike schools. I want you to go to one of these schools.
Yeah,
that's
yes.
true too. You know what?
That's too true.
That's
I mean,
But if you want this money, you have to go one of these Nike schools, or else we're gonna stop the contract.
But that's a real conversation right there,
real, though.
because if you can't go to an Under Armour school, right, and you can't go rocking Puma. Does anyone still rock Puma? I don't know, right? But you can't go do that. Wow, right?
So Ben, one more scenario before you go, or before we wrap up, or we're gonna go. So the kid from Alabama got what $800,000 a quarterback,
Yeah.
hasn't played yet. Tell me what happens to him if he doesn't pan out. What do you think happens to that young man when if it doesn't pan out? If he's not, Alabama's losing. Alabama goes 7-4 because that's a losing season to them. If they don't make it to the playoffs, so this kid can't lead them to the playoffs, what happens to that young man? Because now you have a tag on you.
They're first off, they're removing that contract. We're not paying you anymore. You guys lost one.
Mm-hmm.
It goes back to your comment about the mental. He's going to transfer too. I'm going to transfer. Miami won this year. I'm going to go transfer to Miami and still keep my 100,000. Right?
I think it just opens up. I think we're dealing with like I said, players that are supposed to be getting paid all this money. I honestly believe, what if the performance is not up to par? Then what starts to happen? Especially like basketball, even baseball with pitchers and all that stuff. If your performance is not up to par and we're paying you all this money, even though you're deemed as being the face of what we're doing, what starts to happen when either we start to pull that money away, or you now, since everybody knows about what you're getting paid, that target is on your back, the kind of scrutiny you're going to be up under. Because let's be honest. When I was 17 years old, I can't handle the scrutiny I can handle now. I don't know how to deal with scrutiny. I don't know how to deal with people's opinions as good as I do now. Back then,
a little rough around the edges.
Yeah,
back then,
it's
right?
like you say too much, let's fight. Or let's say too much, I'm gonna figure out how to do something. I'm really concerned about how these young men are going, or young men and young ladies, how they're gonna deal with the scrutiny once it doesn't. And then there's another part that I just talked about. Where's the disparity between men and women when it comes to getting paid for NIL?
Mm-hmm.
Because I do believe it's going to become an issue at some point. Why are they getting this much money and we're not? I know they're not. I know we're not bringing in as much, but hey, we're both representing the same school. We're doing the same job. We're working for the same team, which is University of Alabama. How come he gets this much and I don't get this much?
That's a decent point. I'm actually taking a note to bring that. Maybe we'll talk about that for sure next time as well. That pay disparity, that's a good thing.
And your comment, I mean, it's already happening. Like, I'll bring up, so Danny Etling was at Purdue. He's a quarterback that worked out in San Diego that I know real well. He went to Purdue, and they deemed him the next god of Purdue. He's going to be Drew Brees. He's the next Drew Brees. And as a freshman, they started him. His face was plastered all over Purdue, every restaurant. He was the next Drew Brees. He didn't pan out. And I know his family personally, and it was hard for him. He ended up transferring to LSU, having some problems there, and playing finally. But it took him. They threw all this weight of the world on this kid that you're the next Drew Brees. As a 17, 18-year-old kid, he couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
And it took him 4 years to finally transfer to LSU and get where he needed to be. But still, it didn't pan out like he was supposed to. He's in the NFL now. I think he's a backup for Seattle, but that's a rough road for a 17, 18-year-old kid.
Yeah, man. And everyone's not going to be supporting as probably his family was and helping maneuver him through. You put that same situation on a person like myself who comes from a single mom, never had a college
Oh
education,
yeah.
was a hustler all her life and was able to make ends meet. She can't tell me the dynamics of something like that. How am I supposed to handle it?
Right.
Unfortunately, my father wasn't in the picture, so he couldn't tell me. So I probably would be in a state of loss of mind.
Yeah.
If I was in that same scenario, I probably wouldn't know what to do. And if we're doing probabilities, most likely I probably would have ran down the wrong road or ran into
Yeah.
something would have steered me to trouble.
Mhm.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell you what, let me pull this one comment up and then we'll close that on here. It depends on if it's guaranteed money or only a certain percent each week based on exposure. If an athlete is injured and doesn't play week 4, does he not get paid?
this ain't the school, man. This is endorsement, so that money's
It's
typically
endorsements.
guaranteed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's typically guaranteed.
Okay, so we actually agree on something. So that was actually going to be the statement that I made there too. But I wanted to hear what the round table had to say on that. Mr. Cox, appreciate that question. But again, you see, all of this stuff is just gray matter right now. We're third person looking in. We're the Monday morning quarterbacks trying to figure this out. But at least we're having this conversation. I think he's actually got that term trademarked. Hopefully, I don't get in trouble for that. Ben, I've said some wild things on this show that we won't get any endorsements from ESPN, from Fox. I done already told you how much I'm not a Harden fan, how much I'm not a Chris Paul. It's all bad, right? We're trying to grow, and I'm just keep knocking us down. Let me talk a little bit real quick about, and then we'll wrap here. Football is back, y'all, right? Hall of Fame game is going right now. My Steelers are ahead of the Cowboys 9-3 right now. So hopefully we can maintain that. Coach Bill Cowher got his notice is either yesterday or today. He's actually getting into the Hall of Fame. So shouts out to him. I know you guys are both football fans. Talk to us about this lull that we've had as you guys have had to wait. You know, were you patient? Now that we're back, right? Football is back. You guys are good now? Man, you feeling all right? We got some football back?
I'm happy to have it back. I mean,
you
actually,
watching the game right now. That's what you're looking at right now.
It's a low for me too because I used to be a Chargers fan and I took a hit with them moving to LA.
Yeah. Oh.
And I took a year to 2 years off, but now I'm back.
Okay.
I don't have a team, so I'm open. If anyone wants to recruit me as a fan, I'm open right now. But yeah, I'm ready for football to start. I mean, there's some crazy stuff, and then I've actually changed my views. I used to be a Tom Brady hater. I can't talk trash anymore. He's the GOAT. I can't. As much as I hated him,
just get in line, brother. Get in line, right? When you got 7 rings like that, you there's no deflate gate that gets you 7 rings, right? There's none of that.
I was the biggest Tom Brady hater in the world, and now I'm like, I'm wrong. He's the GOAT. He's the man. I am wrong.
He went to Tampa Bay and pulled out a championship. That's a bad man right there. Montel, what's wrong? You look like you're mad about something.
Oh no.
Football is back, brother.
I'm ready for football to come back, but I'm more ready for college football to come back more so than NFL. NFL football to me is great, and I like it when it gets mid-season. Beginning of the season is kind of rough. Mid-season gets good. Obviously, playoffs is always excellent to kind of dig into, but I get jaded on football, on professional football. Just the politics behind it. I really get jaded on it. Like now you're playing the African national anthem. The stuff they did to Kaepernick, I'm still not forgiving of that because they still haven't said, hey, he was standing for the right cause and we were wrong.
Yeah.
They haven't admitted that just yet. The politics behind the NFL really do jade me, but I'm still a fan. I'm still a fan of football, period, as it goes. But it starts off for me when college football starts. I think that's probably the next purest form of football you can get. Well, we could get before NIL. You could get next to high school with a little bit more advancement. I'm really looking forward to Chris Olave at Ohio State, San Diego native kid that is going to be one of the top players in the nation, I believe. I'm looking forward to Weber State, Rashad Ridley over at Weber State, who's probably one of the top special teams players in the nation, return guys that are going to be playing. And just watching a lot more of those guys really develop themselves and get ready to earn that paycheck and do the things they're supposed to do. And then NFL guys, I'm going to be watching. I'm really trying to see the backstory that's going to happen in Houston. Like, what are they going to do with Deshaun Watson?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm trying to see what they're going to do with him. Yeah, now there's rumbles about he's going to Philly, but then what does that do to Jalen Hurt? If they do that, do they?
Right.
Is Jalen Hurt
Right.
part of the trade going back to Houston, which I hope so? Or and if he's not, what's the situation going on? I mean, the COVID thing going on in the NFL is crazy. Half the guys want to get going want are tested, half the guys aren't. And now, players are you're starting to find that divisive amongst players saying, "Hey, I'm not taking it," and some saying they are taking it, and owners are like, "We're gonna lose a game if you test positive." Their whole soap opera is crazy. To
Yeah.
me, just kind of playing out, and I just don't know. Like I said, the politics behind it just really, it's
I hear you.
tiring, man. It's
I
very
hear you.
tiring. The
No,
NFL is
man,
tiring.
I'm with you. I'm jaded by the NFL and the money, the politics, everything. I'm jaded by it. It takes me. I'm like by in the season playoffs, I'm back in, but
Yeah, exactly.
college,
All
I'll
right, I'll
start
tell
off. I'm
you.
all in college.
I brought up a bad subject. All right, I tell you what. Last subject. I'll bring this up because I wasn't going to talk about it, but we'll bring it up. Hopefully, it'll be a little bit better. Let's talk about them old school Lakers. We got some senior citizens that are the dominant players in on that NBA team. We got Russell Westbrook. I can't even say his name right. Russell Westbrook. We got Carmelo Anthony. Um, both of them in the mid 30s. What? Carmelo 36?
Hey
What
man,
is
I'm
he?
going 37. I think he's 37. I'm going.
37.
Hey, you know what? I hate the Lakers. I'm official Laker hater. I can't stand the Lakers. None. I can't stand them. And I'll be the first one to admit it. But I've always liked Kobe, and I'm also rooting for the old school man a little bit. I want to see them get. I want them to
Okay.
win it.
Okay.
But I mean, let the old school show those young bucks what's going on, and they still got the game. They still got game, and they can hoop. And I don't like LeBron recruiting there. I mean, he's a GM now,
Pretty
basically.
much. Look,
Yeah.
you should have known that from the giddy up, right? That was in
Yeah.
his contract. Yeah, he is doing what Aaron Rodgers wants to do. It,
Yeah, man, he
it
just.
is.
I'm signing him. I'll
I,
get rid of him. So
and I'll tell you this: LeBron is waiting to play 1 year with his son, and then he's retiring.
yep, I agree. I agree. He's trying to get
I'm
Bronny in
calling it
there.
right here. I'm
So
watching it.
the
He's
more
gonna
old
play
school
one
guys that
year.
gets around him, and they can kind of elevate and keep his game all right. He
Yep.
gonna stay until his son gets in there.
Folks, you
Um,
heard it here first. Golly, Ben Darramore said that the
I'm
James
calling it.
boys want to play at least one season together. Okay,
mm,
I'm gonna play this tape back and see if that happens.
Write it
I wouldn't
down.
doubt
Write it down.
it.
yeah, I agree. I agree with you, but I think he wants Bronny to get drafted and play. He wants to play 1 year with his son, and that's it.
Yeah.
That'll be it. But yeah, man, I'm shooting for old school, man. I hope they do some things. I hope this is better than the first old school team the Lakers tried to put together when they brought Karl Malone, Gary Payton, Kobe, and all those guys when they were a little bit two-way past their
Yeah,
prime.
Mitch
I think
Richmond. Mitch Richmond's
yeah,
last year
yeah,
when he came from Sacramento. Yeah, he was.
yeah,
He needed
yeah.
oxygen to get
I
out
hope this
there.
one's a little bit better. I hope this a little bit better. But I mean, I think, man, they're gonna be good in the beginning. But by the time mid-season coming, get to that playoffs, they might
100
be
plus games.
exactly.
Yeah, that's 100 plus games, man. You
They're like,
your
man, my
legs
hip
just don't
hurts. I
do
got
it.
that arthritis is flaring up. I'm like,
Now,
that
now
that
we
might be the
clowning you.
only drawback, man. But go Lakers, man. Man, let them brothers get paid and do their thing, man. I'm happy for them. It's gonna be good to see them compete.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Look, man, this was amazing, man. A great conversation. I'm glad, Ben. Thank you for joining us, Montel. Thank you. You brought another champion in here that was able to chop it up. So, Ben, tell folks where they can find you. I don't know if you got social media feeds or something on the esports side that you're willing to share. Just
yeah.
that quick elevator pitch for us, brother.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me. I'll come back whenever. This was a blast. People can follow me on Twitter at the Ben Naramore. So follow me. If you want to hear about esports, what's going on with NBA 2K League, FIFA, other things, I try to keep people posted. But yeah, anytime, guys. I had a blast. I love doing this.
Appreciate it,
Perfect, my
Montel.
man. Thank you for coming, Ben. I appreciate it. Yeah. What's up, my man? What's up?
Are you feeling good, man? Because I see you smiling now. We got the topics out. We had some good conversation. I just want to make sure you good, man. I'm not gonna hang
Man,
up this line unless
anytime I got 10 toes and I'm 6 feet above ground, I'm blessed, brother, man. So it's all good.
Exactly.
we ending like that, y'all. We out. Team No Sleep. We
Awesome.
appreciate y'all. Be good to yourselves.
Salute.
All right.